Okay, welcome everyone to our second February meeting. So this is the normal scheduled meeting, tonight I'll just go through the slides real quick. We have our organizers, Martin, Dan, Renee, Wagner, and myself. And I think most everybody, Dan and Wagner and Renee are all in Sydney for the Ignite tour. Martin's not, and I'm in Melbourne, waiting to go to the MVP Summit later in March. So tonight we have Sandro. He's Microsoft MVP, and it's basically how we're using Microsoft integration features and related Azure technologies to improve our process. So I've got the question window open. If you have any questions, just type them in the question window, and I will ask Sandro the questions. So without any more delay, I'll go ahead and change presenters to Sandro and let him get started.
Okay. Tell me if you see the screen, please.
I see the screen.
Okay. Thank you, Will, for the introduction, and it's a pleasure to be for the first time in this community. And my name is Sandro. I'm Azure MVP. I have my own blog mainly about Beanstalk, but you may find other stuff like Logic Apps and Flows and PowerApps and other stuff like that. You have my contacts there, and I guess if you want to know more about me, you just search it or go to my blog. Today is about my session will be about showing you some real case scenarios about how we're using Microsoft technologies and integration technologies. And we have a proverb in Portuguese that in a blacksmith house they use a wooden skewer. And basically, what this proverb means is that we normally sell or produce material or technologies or solutions, depending on the area that you are, but we normally don't use it often. And in our case, in IT, this normally happens a lot. So we try to sell or implement solutions in our clients using certain technologies, but in reality, we are internally we don't use them because it's time consuming. We don't want to expend time to do that, and it's like how can you sell it? But we don't have any proof of actually be using. And I internally start to implement some of these features, integration features like Logic App, PowerApps, Microsoft Flows, API management in-house in our daily process, in our products, and just in the beginning for fun, but it start to become a good investment, let's say that way, and it's starting to produce results. So I'm not going in details how do you implement these, or how can you use Logic Apps or Flows or PowerApps, but instead I will show you some real case scenarios and how we build that solutions. Okay. So the first scenario is one of my pet projects. This is a private and personal project. So I have an Airbnb host in Porto. So if you guys want to come visit Portugal and Porto, you can talk with me and stay in my house. But we have some problems about how we need to communicate with the foreign service borders, the hosts that are staying in the house. So legally, I need to report to them that all the hosts, all the information of the hosts, where they are coming from, how many days they are staying, and so on and so forth. This is basically happens in everywhere. If you go to an hotel, they ask you for an identity card, and they take your data and automatically communicate with the boarding service and borders. In terms of Airbnb hosting and personal hosts, this is more complicated. It's a time-consuming task. My wife normally go to the house and with a paper for the guest to fill the paper, and then come to the house and need to fill again online form to deliver to the customs. And my wife is an accountant. It's not a technical person. So I had to convince them to automate this process. Was a good in terms of user experience for the guests, because some of them arrive at 1 in the morning, and you have to schedule another day to go to them to fill the form and the paper in this case. And I start to think what I can do to help this process, help my life better and my wife. So I create an online form using Microsoft Forms. And basically, after the form is filled, I have a simple Microsoft flow that is getting these answers. It creates an email for notify my wife, and I hope soon will automatically communicate with SEF, because I need to ask permission for them to allow me to communicate with the web service. And I'm waiting for their response, but soon I will automate this 100%. So let me show you this. So this is basically Microsoft form. The only interesting that is here is that my house can host six persons, and I don't want for them to need to scroll a lot of web page to scroll down just to submit the form. So I create some technique calling branching forms that once you submit the first guest, he asks if you have more, and if you have more, it shows you the next guest information. Otherwise, it goes to the end of the form. So if you go to the preview and if you ask yes, it goes to the second person and the third person, and so on and so forth. This is the only great thing on this form solution. And again, in the form, the flow is a simple flow that just loading. That is listen to the form when a response is submit. It initializes a variable just to create an email body template with a good user interface. So you get to respond. It will start to fill all the host, the guest information, and I check if there is a second guest. If there is a second guest, additional add more information to that string, and in the end, we'll send an email. This was my first solution, and my wife complained because she was not really able to print the guest information because she's an accountant. She's like paper. So I added recently a new feature that is building a Microsoft Word template, and basically it goes to a Word template, and it fills all the guest information, and it sends it in the email body. And if I fill that with, let me. Basically, we'll get something like this. Let me put some dummy stuff. Oh, no. And submit. One question, question 4. Yep. And submit. The form will be execute, and I will luckily receive an email. And successful, and I will soon receive an email with the guest information, and I have a Word in attached so that my wife can print it and archive this information. Again, this is not fully integrated because I still need to have permission to call web service, but now at least I don't need to go to the house, bother the guests, and to fill up the form, and I just can copy and paste and fill online. I don't need to understand the type lettering of the guests also, and you receive a nice template on attach. Okay, so this is one of my pet projects, and I just show you that you can also use this kind of stuff to your personally daily or business activities. And in DevScope, the first scenario that I'm showing is the time reports. I guess all the IT companies or consultant companies have some kind of system to report hours, hours in projects, to control if the project is on time, and expenses and all the stuff like that. We use CRM, dynamic CRM, but it's on premise. It's not still is not on the Office 365. It's on premise, and I find quite annoying, and all of people actually find quite annoying that you need to go to the CRM and search for the project, search for the budget, insert the budget, and so on and so forth. It's time consuming, and there is no great mobile application to do that, and so it has a lot of inconvenience. And people always is one of the most complaining situations is time reports. Okay. So me and my team decide, let's create a Power App. Let's try to create the Power App to simplify this process. And we actually create one, but we have also certain technical problems. The first one is Power Apps, Microsoft Flow work well with Office 365, but not really well with Dynamics on premise. And I also had to have permissions on CRM, and CRM works with a lot of GUIDs, so it's not like insert a project or you have to call for the project and check the GUID of the project. Based on the GUID, check the budgets, try to find out the GUIDs of the budget to insert a certain report on that budget. Is quite complex. No, Dynamics is a little complex. It's simple to use, but complex in terms of communication. So we actually decided to create a lot of 3 or 4 Microsoft flows in this case, communicate with our CRM, and we actually had some API exposed. We custom that to web API, and we are using our DMZ to connect on-premise and to protect a little that web API, that custom web API that we did, we put behind API management just to control that, just for sake of security. And because, again, searching for a project, searching for a time report is a time-consuming operation, we decided to create a database just to maintain this project and grids, and so the queries will be faster, and we don't need to go each time to CRM to get this information. And actually, this was a big success for us. This is our application. I can manage my projects. So I have a list of projects. I can add new projects. Each person can customize their own project they are allocated. And once you do this customization of your projects, you are ready to go and create a new time report. So today I'll be in this client, and I will be there for 8 hours, so I can submit my time report, and you have a notification there. And each time we insert, we are not really insert, we are putting a queue. So you can do this by twice a week, 1 week, you decide. For each person, they have different ways to report it. Some report daily, some report at the end of the week. So you can actually report several days. They are staying in the queue internally, and then you have this review. Okay, I want to submit this, send it home. And after they being sent, they actually being inserted on our CRM. Let me refresh this page. Luckily, yes, you see that Sandro, Pereira, they are the only two that I have. No, I actually have one here, but you see that I already insert 2 days, the same day. Let me delete these, otherwise I will have problems. But yeah, now it's simple, okay? And we actually also create, let me show, the same process, still using flows behind, but we create a bot also to report time reports, okay? So we have this time report bot, and let me see if I can know how to use this, but let me. No, okay. It's not responding. Ah, okay. Create a new time report. No. Why is not typing this? I don't know why it's not typing.
You've upset the demo gods.
Yeah, no, just my Skype is not really responding. I don't know. I hate Skype. So Microsoft didn't know how to use only one Skype. Now it's Teams. Luckily, we are moving to Teams also. Yep, there it goes. And I type a name, it goes and try to find. It told me that it found two European budgets. I type this is one, and it knows that I have two budgets. Let me say I want this one. Oh no, it's not my option. It's okay. This is my option, but it doesn't allow me. You know, you get the point. It goes to the Microsoft Flow. It retrieves also the time reports, the budgets, the projects, and inserts a time report also automatically. Okay. Skype is trying to annoy me. So now I can even during my walks or in the traffic jam, I can report my hours. I don't need to open my laptop. It's user friendly and is best than using Dynamics directly. And we actually reduce the number of complaints about inserting time reports. Some of them like to use bots. Some of them use our Power App. It's good to have options at least. The second thing, and it's also related to projects, is expenses. No, we as a consultant, we have several clients, and some of them are outside our area. So today I'm in Lisbon. I need to report expenses. No, dinners, traveling, taxis, metro, and other stuff like that. I need to report on the CRM also on the project, and again, this is even more time consuming than time reports. Is a really horrible experience, no? Because at the moment I need to go to the CRM, I need to insert the information manually. He gives me an ID. I need to type the ID on the back of the invoice, and then go deliver to the finance team for them to pay me at the end of the month. Basically, is our user experience. No? So we decide also to create let's try to create a Power App. And we actually have a product on premise that is a OCR, a SmartDocumentor. It can you can send emails, forms, other stuff of documents, and you can extract, apply OCR and extract information from that documents. And we try to build these SmartDocumentor expenses API. It basically is a service, online service, that you send an image and can be a PDF or a JPEG, PNG, you name it, or TIFF, and it goes extract the data and shows you if the OCR was good, well captured, and you can submit to on-premise. This was our first approach, and still in trial. But we found that there is a lot of limitations because we still need to managers need to approve, and then finance need to approve. So it was not. It's a good demo case, but it's not really fit our solution. So I'm not going to show you, but we actually improve. And we create a SmartDocumentor expenses portal. And now we can submit expenses by PowerApps flow email, it goes to a listener, a SmartDocumentor expenses listener. It will perform the caption of the invoices, and it will automatically insert on the portal. Behind there is a SQL databases, and each time manager validate or approve to be paid, the client, the collaborator will be notified if it's paid, if it's approval, and if it's approved to be paid, it will insert the expenses on Dynamics CRM on premise. Okay. So let me show you this working. So let me see if this is working. I have to reconnect. Accept. Screenshot. Start now. So this is I'm sharing my mobile, and I have here, for example, for better quality, I'm using the camera, directly the camera of my phone, and I'm seeing here an expensive, and I'm basically taking a picture of an invoice. Okay. So now I can, for example, go to my flow. I have here the button that is SmartDocumentor send expenses, and I can use my camera directly here, but I still prefer to use directly the camera of the phone because it has better quality. And you see that they have already several expenses. I select the expenses and I choose the project that I'm reporting that expense. No? And then send it. Okay. Again, in behind there will be a flow. It's a flow. It's a flow button. But let me show you. It's just a simple flow that is getting the picture and send it to email. In this case, our listener will be an email, and SmartDocumentor expenser will be listen to that email, and process the pictures. The funny thing about this is that I don't need to remember the email that is behind, or what I need to send in the subject, or stuff like that. So SmartDocumentor is expenses is listened. This is the portal. I will be. I have some dashboards about the number of invoices that are being reported and validate and waiting for validations. And I can go to the expenses, and this behind there is a lot of things. There is an OCR product that is process the image and extract values, but also there is some AI behind. So each time we process an image, we are learning each time to see if this is where the data are from in the picture, where they are being captured, and what type of expenses it is. It is food, it is communications, or hotel, or parks, travel, and so on and so forth. Okay. You see that, for example, this, see the value is not really correct, but it actually went and extract well the data. It's it didn't recognize well because of the resolution, and it says that it's not euro, and it's converting to euro, and this coin is converting to euros is 2 cents. So I can fix that and say this, okay, this is euro. And that's why it's also important to have this kind of technology behind this approval and validation, because not often, and depending of the quality of the image, you can get better data or incorrect data. So we are people that can validate these, and for example, I can put nodes, but I can go directly to the nodes, select these. I want these to be the nodes. They actually in real time extract that information and put in on nodes and save it. Okay. Yeah, no. I did some mistakes. Oh no, this is not this is the one I sent it, and now it's correct. The one I sent it, yeah, the quality is not really good. So it actually detects the numbers correct, but it forgot the dot here, so it's 27, 28, and so on. But this, for example, was automatically processed correctly. You have this, and they found that, okay, you have a mistake here, 45. Again, this is keeping learning where to get the information. See, this was correct. And even the date, what is capturing the data, it tries to, and you can can fix it. For example, data sometimes is difficult and it's actually incorrect because this is here, but you select, it already translates data. And again, in this case of invoice, it's starting to learn where to get it and what type of picture or invoice it is. So this is a brand new portal. So we are not really sending too much information yet because it's on trial. And how many pictures we send more, it will get better, better, and better. Of course, let me save it. I can go here and say, okay, because I'm my manager, I'm also my manager. I can approve my expenses, and it was approval. Behind of that will be some logic apps, and let me go to the portal. Logic apps, and we have two logic apps listening to some changes happen. So we have this status report that is basically listen to if any expense was validated or not. I will trigger this automatically because I have a frequency of 1 hour, because 1 hour is enough for us. People will validate, but it will not being approved for being paid at the same time. So 1 hour is correct for us. But for proof of concept here, I run it manually, and it will check that will be a change on my invoice, and I say, okay, I will receive a notification saying your invoice from the value whatever was validated by your manager, and I will receive a link that I can go and check what was the invoice if I want to know. Okay, this is the original invoice in a PDF form. Okay, that was the invoice. I can always check, and the same will happen if if I go to the validation. Okay, there is these are validated by my manager, but finance can say, okay, I will pay that or I will not pay. And sometimes because I know they was incorrect approval, they can delete delete this and notify the collaborator that it was incorrect, or they can go and ahead and say pay. So the funny thing with the pay is that once it's paid, I have another one here that is listening to that changes also. Again, 1 hour, so I need to run it manually to see what has happened. And what it will do is send another email, say that my invoice was marked as being to be paid, so I will receive that money in a couple of days, and it will go to the CRM. But again, we are using this in a dev environment at the moment. This is for trial and it's still in approval and testing phase. And luckily, my CRM is offline. My CRM dev is offline, so I cannot show you that. But what basically it will do is go into the expense report, and it will add a new expense automatically with associate with the time with the project and with the value inside. Unfortunately, yes, today is Wednesday. It's time of updates, and I think my CRM dev is offline. Nevertheless, let me show you here. I like when I'm trying to do some demos and systems are offline. It's on purpose, by the way. So basically, it will go and execute a store procedure on a SQL database, and for each of them, it will check if the expense is approved to be paid. And if it's approved to be paid, it will create a time report using the custom API. This custom API is exposed using our API management, and we have a web API to do the proxy between the cloud and the on-premise. Yeah, it's offline. And the last scenario that I want to show you is another one that I'm using in my events. So I'm normally a speaker, but I also organize a lot of events in Portugal. And one thing that I like to do is promote evaluation forms. Again, we can use a lot of stuff to do evaluation forms. We can do the Microsoft Forms, Google spreadsheets, you name it. But I still consider that for events, paper is still the best options because it has a lot of advantages. So normally the web, the internet access on the events, it's horrible. And when you are outside of your country, you maybe not have a web to fill up these evaluations. And if you don't fill that on site, forget about doing later. No one or a few people will do that. And even if it's speaking or session is boring, is a good option for you to not fall asleep. So the problem is that with a lot of paper, then we need to extract this information and produce some KPIs. So I create again. I have luckily to have an OCR product on premise, and I create this solution that for each evaluation form, I can send it with a simple scanner, and on the fly start to produce KPI dashboards about speaker performance and session performance and so on and so forth. Using Microsoft Flow or Logic App, I have both Azure functions to map the message that is sending by SmartDocumentor to the expected message to Power BI, and automatically send it to Power BI. Okay, so let me show you that running. Everything is updating today now. So this is an old event that I organized, and I had Elder there, Tommaso, Steve Jan, Nino Crodelli, and other guys that you may know. And we did an integration sessions on TUGIT. That is one big event in Portugal. And we have this. Our presentation was good, good speaker communication, enjoy the session, blah, 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 blah. So what I'm doing is emulating a scanner. I don't have a scanner here. So I use a folder. I can have multiple listeners in this type of OCR solutions. I can use by email. I can use directly from the scanner. I can go to a folder listener. It's like a receive location on vStalk or other stuff like that. No, I can have multiple receive locations for one port. So in this case, I have many receive location for a form. So if I inject the pictures on this folder, they will be processed. There is a pooling of 1 minute or so. You see that it's starting to disappear. And again, I can do whatever I want here. I can automatically process them and send it to my Logic App or my Flow, or I can go be smarter and try to do a simple validation, because even with the paper, people do a lot of mistakes, and one put a big bullet, another put just a dot, or scratch the paper, you name it. So what I have is, each time I submit a form, I have here online, in real case, I have this checker, this review station. They can see that 9, it can go fix 886. It is correct, so I can process. And it goes to the other one, process, yeah. And you see that 9, 8, 9, and again, this bullet is wrong because it's not that I have a print error, and someone fill a bullet that is not correct. So I can go here and say, okay, this is a 9, and this is a 9. And if the guy say that this is a 9, maybe this is an 8, and this is a 7, and this is an 8. Okay, I can do that, or I can still leave it that way and process it. And each time I go to a different combo, you see that it highlights where it's extracting the data. And even this is the form, even in the session where they are being selected is okay. And I say yes, yes, and yes. And behind, what I'm using is another Logic App, and I have both. I have one Logic App and I have a Flow also, and it goes to get the evaluations. What basically is doing is getting the data by an URL, HTTP request. Is a JSON message. I call a function to map this JSON message to the expect, to extract information to get all these metadata from the document, only that the ones that I require, and I will send to a Power BI. And if I go to my Power BI, Power BI, while it's filling, I still have, let me show you, I have the same type of flow, but instead of a logic app is a flow, and it has the same user experience, the same way it's calling an Azure function, receive, parsing, and send it to Power BI. And if I go here, I may have my reports about, I think it's this one. And it will be automatically, let me check if I submit another one, send it, okay, send it another. And if I refresh, you see that it's starting to enter 43 to 44. And I can, with this type of solution, present in a TV on the whole of the event, and is very dynamic and can be interact. And Tommaso was good on dev profiles and the average and so on and so forth. And so this is helping us in some of the cases, in some of the demos that I show in the early. It's helping us to be better on our process, to expedite a little our process, to have a better, good experience in us to perform certain tasks. But this is also helping to expand our business because at the moment I can go to the clients, and when they are starting to speak about certain problems they are facing, I can say, hey, I have it here working. I also use have to these problems, and I'm fixing with these solutions. But in this case, I'm presenting a real solutions. And I went to a client that he has also the problems about time reports. And now I'm creating these time reports applications, and I'm creating a bot also to enter time reports. In this case, is a team bot to other clients. And even the SmartDocumentor expenses is already present in 3 clients of ours that has the same problems about approvals and insertions of expenses. So by us using this technology also and have something to show, we also are producing business at the moment. And with that, I hope you like it, and if you have questions, let me know.
Thank you very much, Sandro. Does anyone have any questions? So I've got the question pane open there. Let me just swap the screens back.
Yep.
Okay, so thanks everybody for attending. And if you've got any other people that are interested, the recording will be up in a couple of days on our YouTube channel. So you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Integration Down Under. Thank you very much for all attending. Thank you, Sandro, for dialing in at early morning your time. And that
Thanks for the
I think
invitation.
that basically will conclude the webcast. Thank you very much.